It is a gorgeous day today. Good afternoon and welcome to the channel. I am going to be showing you guys how to fix the clunk in a Duramax steering rack. Now this has been a serious problem for all Duramax owners over the course of the last 18 years. From 01 to 2010 it's been a plastic bushing in the steering column, and in 11 and ups they changed that to a type of pinion and bolt and flange, which is all aluminum. However, it still has give and needs to be changed because it causes clunking as well, just not as bad. I've been really busy the last couple days. You can see I've laid down some new grass here, which I have to help get it to turn more green, paint the concrete and get everything stained. I'm going to be fixing a few other things, and you can see that's what the concrete looked like before I stained it like this. So I'm definitely going to be doing some more stuff here to, help clean up the front end of the house. But as far as the truck, I'm going to show you guys how you can fix the clunk on a GMC or Chevy Duramax truck in a 2011 and up. On these trucks, there is no plastic bushing that needs to be replaced. It's just the intermediate shaft, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what that is. There's three pieces to the power steering setup on the Duramax and the 11 and ups. The first portion touches the bottom down there on the center link, then it meets the intermediate shaft, which goes to the firewall, then it's the upper link, which goes into the steering wheel itself. We're replacing the intermediate shaft. So here's the intermediate shaft, and you can see it unbolts right there. It's very easy to change out. Once you undo this bolt, it slides out of the upper portion of the shaft and it goes to the firewall. Now inside the engine bay, here is where the intermediate shaft connects with the lower shaft. You unbolt this and then you can pull it from within the firewall. You're definitely going to have to remove it to the firewall and not the inside of the vehicle. Also, the nuts holding the rubber boot against the firewall are going to have to come off, and everything comes out through the firewall. Pretty straightforward install. 35 foot-pounds of torque on this nut and 37 inside the vehicle, where you torque down that nut, which connects the intermediate shaft to the upper shaft. So that's how easy changing out the intermediate shaft is. It's really not too bad. Okay, there is really one serious piece of advice I have for you if you're going to be changing out your intermediate shaft. It's something that you cannot overlook and you must take caution with, and that is the clock spring inside the steering wheel. There is no lock on this steering wheel. As soon as you disconnect the intermediate shaft, this steering wheel will spin, and when it does, you're going to have to replace the clock spring, which is several $100s, and it is a pain in the butt. So in order to prevent this issue, I'm going to lock the steering wheel with the seat belt. That'll prevent it from turning. So as you can see, that's not going anywhere, and that is how you prevent yourself from a nasty nightmare. Now it's time to remove the intermediate shaft and replace it. This is really not a hard job as long as you take care and do it properly. The average time is probably about a half an hour to 45 minutes, and that's if you don't run into any trouble with the nuts. And as long as nothing's corroded or seized on there, which usually there is some sort of issue in that department, it can take an hour, hour and a half to do the job, but it's really not that hard, and it's going to be a lot better with the new intermediate shaft, that's for sure. So I have my 16mm on here. I'm going to break this nut loose. You can see that the lock tab at the top is turning with it. That's what allows you to torque from one side only as it locks against the shaft itself. Same thing when you're removing. You have to make several turns before it locks on the other side. It allows you to break the bolt away from the tab, which is attached and welded to the nut. So I have removed these two 8mm bolts from the firewall seal on the intermediate shaft, and you can see it just pulls right away. And you can see the shaft right there going behind the firewall. Once I disconnect it, I'm going to compress it down so that it'll come out easily. 15mm on one side and 13 on the other. Now I should be able to separate that from the upper shaft. So there it is right there. It's going to get pushed through the firewall. So once the nut on the intermediate shaft in the inside of the vehicle is removed and you compress it like I did towards the engine bay, you can now move this portion by wiggling gently and pulling up. You'll see this shaft disconnected from the lower shaft. And now I can pull the intermediate shaft away from the firewall and all the way out. So you can see the intermediate shaft right here has been completely removed. There's actually three screws holding this in. Two on the left side like I showed you, and one third one down there. So this is the intermediate shaft completely removed. You can see on the rubber boot there's not only the two screws over here like I told you, or the two nuts, but there's also one over there as well that I couldn't see that I had to remove. And now it's time to compare them side by side. I'm going to remove the rubber boot. So here is the difference between the new intermediate shaft and the old one. Look how easy the old one moves left to right. It's very easy. It's almost no effort at all. In fact, I could do this and it turns. Whereas the new one does not turn at all. See the difference? And it's much more difficult to turn. In fact, I have to push to get it to turn. So the joint is much better on this one, obviously, than the old one, and that's the reason why I changed it out. If you look how easy it is to extend the old one, you look down there, it's still got a decent amount of stiffness to it, but this one is a lot stiffer. I'm going to insert the new intermediate shaft into the boot like this and get it ready for install. This is pretty straightforward. It's the same as the removal, it's just the reverse order. The seatbelt is saving the day, preventing the steering wheel from spinning freely and aimlessly and blowing the clock spring, so this is a really good idea. Keep this in mind if you're doing this kind of work. Like this. There we go. Now the intermediate shaft is going to the firewall. There we go. Now we're just going to connect it on both sides, and first it's going to be a lot easier to connect this boot to prevent it from coming all the way out. So that's what I'm going to do first. Okay, so now that I've got that one retaining nut there, that's really all I need to prevent the boot from coming all the way back down and making it much more difficult to install the intermediate shaft. But now that I've done that, things should be pretty easy. Here's the lower shaft where it meets the intermediate shaft. Gonna push this all the way through into the firewall. And it'll make it a lot easier to go to the firewall side and pull it all the way through. This way it connects a lot easier. You can see it's stuck right there. There we go. The intermediate shaft, you can see I have the bolt pushed through here. It's not tightened down just yet. I'm just gonna leave it there so this way I can get the intermediate shaft connected in the engine bay. I bolted down one of the nuts on this rubber seal. It's gonna prevent that from coming down as well, making this job a lot easier. You can see the intermediate shaft right here. You could pull it out or push it in. You can see this is the lower shaft right here. And then I'm just gonna pull the intermediate shaft down just a bit so that they line up. And then you can see right there, they're connected. So I'm just gonna seat them properly. So I'm gonna get this bolt pushed in here with the nut with the tab attached to it, just gently, not too snug. This way I can check everything, make sure everything's lined up the way it should. Then we'll start torquing everything down properly, and that will conclude the job. It took me no more than an hour, hour and a half. Very easy. Gotta make sure to torque this down to 37 foot-pounds, which is very important. So the intermediate shaft is now torqued to spec, 37 foot-pounds. Gonna go to the engine bay and torque that to 35 foot-pounds. And now I can remove the seat belt from the steering wheel and everything is good to go. So that concludes the install of a new intermediate shaft. So the steering intermediate shaft has been replaced. It's much tighter. It feels better than the old worn out intermediate shaft. And it's really not that hard of a job, as you guys can see. This was just one of the many fixes for Duramax trucks, especially 01 to 10, which had that plastic bushing. Like I said, 11 and up has the intermediate shaft that I replaced. It doesn't matter which one you have. They're both gonna need to be replaced as they clunk. Just the older ones were much worse. There's other things on Duramax trucks that must be addressed and fixed, especially as the mileage climbs. The engine and trans will last forever if you take care of it, but the steering components and suspension and other things on the truck must be taken care of. Another issue that I've got a vlog coming out on tomorrow is how to stabilize your steering. I know a lot of you guys who have lifted Duramax trucks have a wandering issue on the highway where you turn the wheel a little more than you should have to before the truck responds. Some people call it steering lag and then others call it wandering, but it basically is too much give and play in the steering components, which is the idler and pitman arms. Cognito makes an idler and pitman brace support that goes on each of the different arms, which stabilizes the steering and takes away all the play, makes the steering much more responsive, eliminates most, if not all, of the wandering on the highway, and it's a much needed fix for the Duramax. I'm going to show you guys all about that tomorrow when I head up to MTE Truck and Accessories. We're going to be installing it there, as well as new cross-member bushings for the torsion bar cross-member. That's going in as well. I'm going to be changing the transmission fluid as well as the engine oil and the Allison filter. This way I can get all the maintenance done in the truck. The transfer case and the front and rear differential fluid is also going to be changed. Now, I have been in talks with some guys over at Cognito. I have something really interesting coming out with them and a possible sponsorship. I can't talk about the details yet, but I have a feeling they're going to be working with me on something major, and that's going to be in the next few weeks. Also, the YouTube call out is on October 20th, Saturday, October 20th, in Montauk, Pennsylvania. Make sure you guys are out there. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Street Speed 717 is hosting it. We're also going to have Paul at Family Cruise in there as well. It's going to be a great time. Make sure you stop in and check the event out. It's going to be awesome. But that's going to do it for today's short video. So you can see there's the Integra sitting in the garage. I have a vlog coming up with that on Monday. Hopefully going to be taking it to a car show. There's also another car show on Sunday, and I'll be doing a car review as well. So Sunday, 2 videos. It's going to be great. Lots of stuff coming to the channel, guys. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment below. What do you guys think of the video? Did you learn something? Did you have fun? Don't forget to support the channel at DrivewayDemons.com. Get your t-shirts and hoodies there, as well as the new Driveway Demons keychains that say Mopar, no car on one side, and Driveway Demons on the other. Once again, guys, support the channel, DrivewayDemons.com. For all my returning subscribers, thanks so much for watching all my videos, but until the next video, take care and have a great night.